Oh, good. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome, welcome. It's so nice to see everyone, all who are with us in person. Welcome back to Temple. For those who are joining us online, we welcome you in our Zoom room. Oh, and I forgot to. And now the folks on Facebook should be able to join us too. I think that everything is working there. So good. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, everyone. Well, obviously, we're going to need to warm up a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
We begin with words of welcome on page 128 Hine matov umanaim shevet achim gam yachad. Behold how good and how pleasant it is. How good it is, how sweet it is when we come together to celebrate Shabbat in special moments in our lives.
Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Again, we want to welcome everyone. When we gather together on Shabbat, we're ready to put this week behind us. We're ready to say goodbye to the work week, the school week, to all that has kept us busy, and we are ready to take a deep breath and welcome this day of rest. On page 648, we find the words, Shir l'Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shir l'Adonai kol ha'aretz. Let us sing to God a new song. Let us join with all the earth together on this Sabbath day. Let us sing a new song unto God.
I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. For the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol ha'aretz.
As we begin this Sabbath observance, we begin with the lighting of our Shabbat candles. We turn in our prayer books to pages 120 and 121. I'd like to invite Luz Molina to come and join us, please. Page 120, 121.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ne'emet Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik shel Shabbat.
We turn now in our prayer book to page 125, and I'll put the words up on the screen as well for those who are joining us from home. Page 125. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Page 132. As we sang at the beginning of our service, Shir Adonai, Shir Chadash, sing to Adonai a new song, sing to Adonai all the earth, sing to Adonai, bless God's name, proclaim God's victory day after day, tell of God's glory among the nations, God's wondrous deeds among all peoples. For Adonai is great and much acclaimed. God is held in awe by all divine beings. All the gods of the peoples are mere idols, but Adonai made the heavens. Glory and majesty are before God. Strength and splendor are in God's temple together. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The fields and everything in them exult. Then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of Adonai, for God is coming. For God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its peoples in faithfulness. We turn to page 138 and 139 and join in L'Chadodi.
L'Chadodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekapela, Shamor v'Zachor, B'dibor echad, Ishmianu, El HaMyuchad אחד, אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת, ולקהילה אחד אותי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי אם מקור הברכה מראש מקדם, נעשו הסוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לכת אותי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטר גאלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, לכת אותי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת
The bottom of page 145, we are reminded that entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, even over the internet. There is no place on earth without the presence. We turn to page 146 and we rise for the Baruch Hu.
Yai da 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 yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da, yai da da da, yai da yai da da. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Amen vorach. Baruch Adonai.
Page 148, our prayer of creation, Ma'ariv Aravim. I'll put the words up on the screen for us as well, as we are reminded of God who brings on the evening each and every day. We join together in the Hebrew there on 148. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil vein yom uvein layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu, le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Page 150, we read together in the English, Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. We join together in the words of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Vahed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Vahed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'otecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'efe asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta paham v'shivtecha v'veitecha u'v'lachtecha v'derech u'v'shoftecha u'kumbecha u'kshartam le'ohot ha'yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinenecha u'chtavtam amuzazot beitecha u'visharecha Leman tiskeru vasitem mekom mitzvotai vitem kedushim lelokekem ani Adonai Elokekem asher hotzeiti atchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elokekem.
We may all be seated. Page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 158, we join in our song of freedom, Micha Mocha.
Micha Mocha, Elohim Adonai, Micha Mocha, Neda Bakotesh. Micha Mocha, Elohim Adonai, Micha Mocha, Neda Bakotesh. Nora Tehilot, Nora Tehilot, O Sefer Nora Tehilot, Nora Tehilot, O Sefer Ochukara Uvanecha, Okei Ayam Lifnei Moshe, Zeili Anu Veyamru, Adonai Imloch, Adonai Imloch, Le'olam Va'ed. Adonai Imloch, Adonai Imloch, Le'olam Va'ed.
Page 160. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, O God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 162, we join together in the covenant of Shabbat, Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'odotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'odotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'odotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim va'et ha'aretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'odotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'odotam berit olam.
We turn now to the Amidah, which begins on page 164, and we rise.
Adonai sifetai tiftach ufi agi tekilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanorah, El Elyon, Komel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, Zocher Kasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Ba'ahava, Melech Uzer, Umoshiach Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Be'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol, Atah Rav L'Hoshia, Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol Be'rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Ve'ofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Mikamo Kabal Gevurot, Umido Mehilach, Melech Memi, Umekayem, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'nehimanata L'Takayot Hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yikalu kasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated. We continue at the top of page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. We continue at the bottom of page 175. We read together in the English. You are with us in our prayer, our love and our doubts, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We continue on page 176 as we give thanks to God for all of the blessings in our life. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, v'lecha na'eh lehodot. We continue on page 178 with our prayer for peace, Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav, O Yisrael, Omcho Tosim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, O Yisrael, Omcho Tosim Le'olam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol ha'shalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol ha'shalom. V'tov enecha levanech et amcha Yisrael, v'kol etu kol shah yishlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai, oseh hashalom.
Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. We take a few moments now for our own silent prayers.
Ose shalom bimromah, Oyase shalom aleinu, ve'ako Yisrael, v'imru amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'ako Yisrael, 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 Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'ako Yisrael.
We turn now in our prayer book to page 371. There we find our prayers for healing. As we gather together on this Shabbat evening, we give thanks to God for all of our blessings, including the blessing of health. And we think of all of those who are sick, all of those who are recovering from surgeries and procedures, all of those who are fighting the coronavirus, all of those who are looking for wholeness and healing. We think of them now. In particular, the prayers of our congregation go out this Shabbat on behalf of Vern Granston, Joel Webb, James O'Neill, Ann Friedman, Lara DiChristina, Daniel Cantrell. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless and heal all those who are in need. May God swiftly send them a refuah shlema umehera, complete and speedy healing and renewal of body, soul, and mind. As we join together now in our Misha Berach prayer for healing there in the middle of page 371.
Bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Yishemerach imotenu b'kol habracha le'avotenu, v'sos in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We turn now in our prayer books to page 364 for our Torah service. For those who haven't joined us before on a Friday evening Torah service, the tradition has always been to read Torah when people come together to celebrate Shabbat at our major service. So this Friday evening, we join together in a special Torah service, which we chose this week because of our Torah portion, Lech Lecha. Very important. I look forward to speaking about it. So page 364, please rise.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Udava Adonai Mirushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Kadu Adonai iti, Romima Shemo, Shemo Yachdav. Lecha Adonai HaGedola, HaGevura, HaTiferet, VeHaNetzach VeHaHod. Ki kol hashamayim uvaret, ki kol hashamayim uvaret. Lecha Adonai hamlachot, v'mitnaseh lekol erosh.
Please be seated. Tonight we read the third Torah portion from the beginning of the book of Genesis. A lot has happened in week 1. We read of the creation of the world. Last week, we read the story of Noah and the flood. So according to tradition, there were 10 generations from Adam to Noah, and now 10 generations from Noah to a guy by the name of Abraham and his wife Sarah, or as they're known in this week's Torah portion, Avram and Sarai. Everything up to this moment here in Genesis chapter 12 has been the pregame. It's been introductions to get us to this point when we are introduced to the beginnings of Jewish history. The story of the Jewish people, our story, our family begins right here in Genesis chapter 12 as God speaks to Avram these words. So that's where I'm going to pick up our story. Genesis chapter 12. The Torah blessings can be found on page 368. Hey, I got that right. I invite everyone to join with me in the blessing before the reading of Torah, especially those who are training to become a bar mitzvah. Here we go. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Notzein HaTorah. Vayomer Adonai El Avram, and God spoke to Abram. And this is the first time God has spoken in a few chapters. The last time God spoke was directly to Noah. And we know that things hadn't gone so well, and that's why God spoke to Noah saying, build an ark, we're going to start all over again. Now, generations later, things are okay, but they could be better. And that's why God chooses to speak to Avram. And God says, Lech lecha, go forth, you, Abram, the guy I'm talking to, you, get up, let's go. I want you to go forth. I want you to leave the land, the place of your birth, your father's house. Abe, I want you to leave everything you know behind. And together, we're going to start a new journey. Every journey has a beginning. This is where our journey begins. Where is Abram supposed to go? I'm glad you asked. El haaretz asher areka. God simply says, I want you to go to the land that I will show you. We're not given a GPS address, no coordinates. Can't stop at AAA to pick up a triptych on your way there. God says, Abram, I want you to pick up and go. On the way, I'll tell you where we're headed. I'll let you know when we get there. And what's going to happen when we get there? I'm glad you asked. Ve'escha legoy gadol. and I'm going to make you and Sarai into a great nation. Va'avarechecha va'agadla shemecha. I'm going to bless you and I'm going to make your name great. V'haya bracha va'avarecha mevarachecha umekalelcha aor. You shall be a blessing, and all who bless you shall be blessed, and anyone who tries to curse you, they shall be cursed. V'nivrechu b'cha kol mishpachot ha'adama, and all of the families, the nations of the earth, they will all be blessed through you. That's my offer, Abram. What are you going to do? And Abram goes home and hopefully talks about it with his wife. And they pack up very quickly and they begin the journey. Even though they weren't sure where exactly they were going to go, we read, Vayelach Avram kasher diber elav Adonai. And Abram went just as God spoke to him. Vayelach ito Lot, va'Avram ben chamesh shanim b'shiv'im shana, b'tzeito mecharan. And he took his nephew Lot with him. Lot's father had died, so Abe, as the older uncle, takes Lot with him. And he, by the way, he was only 75 years old at this time, still not a father himself, a good time to pack up and move. And he left where he had been. Vayikach Avraham et Sarai ishto, ve'et Lot ben Achi, ve'et korach chusham asher achashu, ve'et hanefesh asher asu b'charan. And so he and Sarai at this point, and Lot, and all of the property and everyone who worked with them, they all packed up and they hit the road. They began their journey. Vayetzu lalechet arza Canaan. And they left for the land of Canaan. Vayavo arza Canaan, and they arrived there in Canaan. Vayavor Avram ba'aretz ad makom Shechem ad Elon Moreh. V'haknaani az ba'aretz. And he made it all the way there to this land of Canaan, and went all the way up toward Shechem by Mamre. And they found that the Canaanites were already there. Vayera Adonai el Avram. And once there, God appeared to Abram once again. Vayomer, and God said, L'zaracha eten et haaretz hazot. Now that you're here, I want you to know, Abe, says God, I'm going to give this land to your descendants. Everything that you see, this will be yours, and you're going to pass it on to those who come after you, who are going to pass it on to those who come after them, and to the next generation, and to the next generation, which is a fascinating line, considering Abe and Sarah still don't have kids yet. But it's letting us know that there's more to come. Abram is moved, Vayiven sham mizbeach l'Adonai hanir'eh elav. And how does Abram respond? He builds an altar to the God who has appeared before him. Vayetak misham hahara mikedem leveit el vayet ohalo beit el mayim v'ha'ai mikedem. And then he got up and he walked around a little bit more until finally setting up his tent, so that Bethel was to the west and Ai was to the east. He takes a look at this land that is to be given to him. And after doing that, Vayiven sham mizbeach l'Adonai, he builds another altar with which to say thank you to God. Vayikra b'shem Adonai, an altar that he names for the one and only God. Vayisa Avram haloch v'nasoa hanegba. And then he continued down into the Negev. He went south. And this is our introduction to Avram. Last week, when we were introduced to Noah, we were told that he was a righteous man in his generation, that he walked with God. Interestingly, Avram doesn't get any kind of introduction like that. Yes, last week at the end of the portion, we learned who his dad and who his brothers were. But we don't know anything about Avram. The only way we learn about Avram is through reading the stories about Abraham and Sarah. And so what do we learn this week? We learned, first of all, that Avram was a man of faith. When God said, go to the land that I will show you, Abraham was ready to listen. Now, Avram must have already had a sense that there had to be a God above all the other gods who were worshipped, a God who helped create the world, so that when God called out Abram was ready to listen. And I would argue that as great as Avram's faith is, Sarah's is even greater, because she had to have faith in both God and her husband Avram to make this journey. So we learned that Avram and Sarai were people of faith. Second, we learned that they're folks of action. They don't, when God says, I want you to hit the road, I want you to move, they don't ask, well, we're going to need a little extra time. They don't say, what should we take with us? What's the weather going to be like when we get there? They start immediately to pack up and they hit the road. When God says, I want you to go, they're ready to go. And as soon as he gets there, what's the first thing Avram does? He puts his stake in the ground and then he builds an altar to say thank you to God. Avram and Sarai are people of action. When God says, Lech Lecha, I want you to get up and go. God says, things haven't turned out exactly as I had hoped. We had to start all over again with Noah. I need help in this world. So Avram and Sarai, I have a job for you to do. You are to be role models. You are to be a blessing, which means it's up to you to help make this world a better place. Help show people what it means to be good people, to be menschers, as we talked about at religious school last week. Be shining examples of being just and righteous, people who do the right thing because that's what God expects of us. When you act this way, when you teach this to others, then you are truly a blessing, and that's how the other nations of the earth will bless themselves by you, through you, from learning from you. So what do we learn from this week's Torah portion? We learn that Abraham and Sarah were people of faith, people of action, sent to be role models for us, their descendants, and for all the world. We are proud to be the direct descendants of Abraham and Sarah, Isaac, Rebekah, Jacob, Leah, and Rachel. But God's challenge for them still stands true today. It is up to us to be a blessing by helping to make this world a better place. And so the story, our story, begins here in Genesis chapter 12. I invite you to join with me in the second blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Please rise.
וזאת התורה ששם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. ידי די 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 ידי די די ידי די ידי די 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 ידי ידי די ידי די 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 ידי די די yada die. Yada die 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 yada die die. Yada die 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 yada die 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 die. Yada die 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 yada die.
Page 374, Yehallelu Shem Adonai, Ki Nishkav Shemo Levado. Let us praise the name of Adonai, for God's name alone is exalted.
Etzbayim ki l'machazikim ba v'tov v'cheka meyusha dachenom v'chul nativotecha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva kadesh kadesh yameinu, Kadesh yameinu, Kekedem.
We remain standing as we turn to page 586 and continue with Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shapeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gidula l'yotzer reshit, v'lo asanu kegoyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, v'lo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'nahachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'motim, lifnei melech, Malkei Hamlakim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, V'nemar, V'haya Adonai, L'melech Kol Haaretz, Bayom Hahu, Yeh Adonai Echad, Ushemo Echad.
Please be seated. We continue on page 596. When cherished ties are broken and the chain of love is shattered, only trust and the strength of faith can lighten the heaviness of the heart. At times, the pain of separation seems more than we can bear. But if we dwell too long on our loss, we embitter our hearts and harm ourselves and those about us. The psalmist said that in his affliction, he learned the law of God. And in truth, grief is a great teacher when it sends us back to serve and bless the living. We learn how to counsel and comfort those who, like ourselves, are bowed with sorrow. We learn when to keep silent in their presence and when a word will assure them of our love and concern. Thus, even when they are gone, the departed are with us, moving us to live as in their higher moments they themselves wish to live. We remember them now. They live in our hearts. They are an abiding blessing. We turn now to page 598. I'll put the words up on our screen as well. As we think now of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, as we mourn the loss of Marilyn Lassen, Wayne Hershey, Richard Shorenstein Jr., Sharon Gale Sachs Weiner. And we think of those who died in this season in years past, those whom we've taken into our hearts with our own, as we lovingly recall the yahrzeit now of Sarah Aronson, Simon Barr, Donna Boss, Augustine Israel Block, Morris Block, David Karen, Dr. Isidore Cohn Jr., Rabbi Julian B. Feibelman, Virginia Hyman Hiller, Richard Benjamin Kaufman, Shepard M. Latter, Julius Lemon, Albert Levy, Francis Moss Levy, Rietta K. Levy, Rose Baginski Love, Fanny Tillman Lucas, Claire Strauss Meyer, David Nachman, Harry Arthur Oken, Jack Rich, Patricia Ullman Rich, Arthur M. Rothschild, Elsie Wald Scheineck, Ida Schwabacker, Bertha Schooler, Solace Seifert Sr., Abraham Sherman, Bertha Levy Siegel, Bella Levy Sternberg, Leah Levy Uri. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be an everlasting blessing as we rise now as one community to recite the words of Kaddish Yatzom there on page 598. Together, Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'almad zivrach yirutzeh v'yamlich malchutzeh, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv, v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam ul'amei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'rechu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechamata da'amiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlomo rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Ve'emru, 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 amen. Ve'emru, 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 amen.
Please be seated. It's my pleasure to call up Carlos Adame, representing our board and leadership tonight for a few words of welcome and announcements. Thank you, Carlos.
Good evening and Shabbat Shalom. The Biba flowers for this Shabbat were sponsored by Patty Barnett, Kathy and Dick Bugman, Suzanne Rose in memory of Shepherd and Ladder. Coming up at Temple Sinai, we have virtual Torah study tomorrow morning beginning at 9:15 a.m., followed by our Shabbat morning service, which will begin at 10:30 a.m. Both can be accessed online via Zoom and will be streaming live on our Facebook page and website. Our Temple Sinai Sisterhood will be hosting Tea Social Together at the home of Bonnie Aronson on October 17th, beginning at 2 p.m. For more information on Sisterhood and all their events, make sure to visit the Sisterhood section of the Temple Sinai website or reach out to the Sisterhood leadership. And on Monday evening, October 18th at 6:30 p.m., Temple Sinai is hosting Together New Orleans discussion for residents of the City Council District A, as we focus on reforming the New Orleans electricity system. For more information, please take a flyer with you on your way out, and make sure to register togethernola.org. Thank you very much, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Carlos. The flyer that Carlos mentioned is by the door. Again, that's for this Monday evening. We are hosting for City Council District A. We'll be hosting right here. There's lots going on at Temple these days. I hope you've had a chance to see the October newsletter, either online or the printed. A reminder that this Sunday at 12:30 after religious school, I'll be starting a new Introduction to Judaism class. All are welcome to join us. Those who grew up Jewish, those who have married into a Jewish family, those who would just like to learn a little bit more about what it means to be Jewish. We're going to start our class this Sunday at 12:30 right here at Temple. On Wednesday evenings, we began a new adult education class. Let's Talk About God and Do I Have to Believe? We'll continue this coming Wednesday evening on Zoom and the following week as well. Next Friday evening, we are going to host our Pink Shabbat in honor of October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We hope that you'll plan on joining us, and we're inviting everyone to wear pink next Friday evening for our Pink Shabbat as we remember those whom we've lost and as we pray for all of those who are fighting breast cancer and all forms of cancer. So that'll be at our service next Friday evening at 6 p.m. Following the conclusion of our service, everyone is welcome to join us outside in the sukkah area. It's not a sukkah anymore. We will make kiddush and motzi outside following services and have a chance to wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. Of course, that's for the folks who are here. For those folks who are joining us at home, we hope that there's some kiddush, there's some wine or grape juice or challah by you, and that you get to enjoy that at home tonight too. We're going to conclude our service this evening with words inspired by this week's Torah portion. On page 645, you'll find Debbie Friedman's Lechi Lach, which is the feminine of Lech Lecha. God says to Avram, Lech Lecha. God says to Sarai, Lechi Lach, to a land that I will show you. We join together with the cantor.
Lechi Lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi Lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing, Lechi Lach. Lechi Lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi Lach, to the place that I will show you. Lesimchat Chayim, Lesimchat Chayim, Lesimchat Chayim, Lechi Lach. You shall be a blessing, you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing, Lechi Lach.
Please rise. Adonai Oz La'amo Yitein. May God give strength to our people. Adonai Yivarech et Amo v'Shalom. May God bless us, our families, our congregation, our community. May God bless all those who lead and protect and serve in our country. May God bless the people and land of Israel and all the world with the blessing of Sabbath peace. Shabbat Shalom. And for those on Zoom, I invite you to unmute yourself so that we can wish you a good Shabbos as well. For those who are here, we're so good to see you all. And again, we're going to follow Carlos and Luz on our way outside for some challah, grape juice, and wine. And for those who aren't following us, it's wonderful to see everyone. Terry and Mary, Shabbat Shalom. Oh, and do we have some family members here with us too?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
This is our
Excellent.
oldest
Hi, guys.
granddaughter, our
Welcome. So
oldest
glad that you're here with us. Shabbat Shalom. Mark, it's good to see you. Billy and Jane, it's good to see you all.
Good to
Again,
see you,
Billy,
Rabbi.
sorry for your
Shabbat shalom.
loss.
I'm so scared.
Shabbat Shalom, Mom and Dad. Looks like it got a little colder in Tulsa. Shabbat Shalom, Elizabeth. Shabbat Shalom, Judy. I see you there. Shabbat Shalom, Amy. Shabbat Shalom, Janice and Mike. Do I see my friend Vern there? Vern, who we hope is feeling better. Vern celebrated his birthday in a unique way yesterday. We wish you a refuah shlema mehera, complete and speedy recovery, Vern.
Thank you very
It's good to
much.
see-
It's a little rough, but it's going to be okay.
The worst part is behind you, God willing.
God willing, Yitzhak Hashem, indeed.
Glad you're here. Shabbat Shalom, Vern. Shabbat Shalom, Sharon. I see you. Oh, I see we have the Frolics here with us too. Shabbat Shalom. It's nice to see you. All right, I'm going to head outside. We're going to make Motzi and Kiddush. Shabbat Shalom,
you.
everyone.
Okay.
Shalom.